Now, I'd like to welcome to the show, he's a former misdemeanor terrorist. Please welcome Steve Baker.
Ow!
Thank you. Did you say misdemeanor or
No, misdemeanor.
Okay.
Did I say misdemeanor?
That's what it sounded like.
I have 7 misdemeanors, so I promise you I know the word. But I might have said misdemeanor because there used to be a show called Cops.
Misdemeanor, the
Show.
villain.
The guy's name was Misdemeanor. So having had been arrested and had a couple of these myself, none of them included the word terrorism, which sounds more like a felon.
Yeah, well, they tried to put a felony on me. I got a grand jury subpoena, and when they do that, if you know anything about grand juries, they are not seated for misdemeanor investigations. It's only a felony investigation. So they tried, and they failed. Even the D.C. grand jury couldn't find the evidence of me acting and performing as a journalist inside the Capitol. Very terroristic, I assume.
So we know that here, but basically what happened was you were accused of being a January 6th, and then you were arrested for a terrorist felony where you actually came here and turned yourself in. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. No, I knew that we were going to have to, or I was going to have to self-present because the FBI had let my attorneys know, and we could have done it in my city where I live, which is Raleigh, North Carolina. We could have done it in D.C., and obviously because we knew the Blaze cameras would be here in Dallas, we chose Dallas.
Smart.
Real
They can do anything to you.
Yeah, that's right.
They can say anything happened. Very smart play. So what happened? So you went, where did you go to jail?
5 whole hours. I got locked in a cell with a meth dealer, but
that seems on par.
Yeah.
Like if they're serious about terrorism, you're probably going to be sitting next to a meth dealer.
Well, the funny part is that the day before, when we got the instructions of where we were going, because I had to turn myself into the FBI field office here in Dallas, and so the actual email to my attorney said that I had to turn myself in, and I quote, wearing a T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops.
Was it
mandate?
That was in the email for my instructions.
Were you going to Jimmy Buffett's
Bachelor party?
And so, I said to my lead attorney, I said, why are they doing this? And he said, well, you know why. It's a shaming exercise, and they're going to, and you've been poking them in the eye for 3 years, so this is just one of their little ways of getting back at you. And I said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow morning in a suit and tie, and that's what I did. I showed up in a, full suit, tie, dress slacks, shoes, the whole deal.
Well, as you should, because they're basically trying to get you to dress like our friend Adam Lectern guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Adam. I'm just saying that, they were trying to make you look like one of the herd, as it were.
Yeah. So my attorney, one of my attorneys, so I have an attorney actually here in Dallas as well. So he went up and negotiated with the FBI when we arrived at 7 a.m. on March 1st of last year. And they said, okay, we're not going to make him change into an orange jumpsuit, but he's got to take off the jacket, he's got to take off the tie, he's got to take off his shoelaces and his belt.
That's common.
Yeah. Understand they got to take all the items you can hang yourself with.
Exactly. Or that they hang you with.
Exactly. So I walked in. The one thing that they weren't expecting is, have you heard of the suspendables? The FBI whistleblowers. That coalition of FBI whistleblowers have this pin, and it's their own logo is an upside down FBI badge, and that's their logo for the suspendables.
Really?
Yeah. And so I wore my upside down FBI badge to be arrested by the FBI.
They recognize it?
'Cause I'm a honorary suspendable from the whistleblowers.
Are you really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So when I went up and I shook the FBI agents' hands with the Blaze cameras on me, and I turned around, waved to everybody, and they took me in, started processing me.
It's like how people in fraternities get out of DUIs, and I know this. You have that pin,
Like I'm one of
and then you notice they have that pin, and then you just shake their hand, and all of a sudden it all goes away. I like the way you're playing this.
Yeah.
It's like me.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
So anyway, they did the whole thing, and you know what I'm talking about. You've been through it. You take your shoes off and your socks off, and they check everything, and then they put me in cuffs behind my back, walked me out to the car. On the Blaze cameras.
Perp walk.
So I got the perp walk on camera, and then they drove me down to the federal courthouse, downtown Dallas, where they handed me over to the U.S. Marshals, who then proceeded to put me in leg irons and the belly chains. So I had to shuffle in my appearance before the magistrate wearing leg irons.
So they put you in Hannibal Lecter gear minus the mask.
Yes, because I am being charged in federal court. I'm having my charges read to me in my arraignment for 4 nonviolent misdemeanor charges. And there are felons sitting in the gallery with their attorneys wearing their suit and tie.
Really?
So they required me, because I was a J6er, misdemeanor, because they've created this whole idea of misdemeanor terrorism now, that didn't exist before January 6th.
Nor should it.
Well, no, it should never.
Right.
If you walk in with a camera into the Capitol, even if you were a grandmother who was, I call them the accidental tourists, who walked in for 7 minutes and took a selfie, in the rotunda and then walked out and then got SWAT raided, 6 months later. At 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have that happen to me, but what was ridiculous is that, like myself and 80 other journalists who walked into the restricted space, I behaved myself like a journalist. You can see me stopping.
Right.
The Blaze, has a 37-minute. We have all 37 minutes of me in the Capitol on camera.
Yes.
On the Blaze channel and on Blaze YouTube.
You were smearing poo on the walls.
Yeah, that was me.
Smashing things.
That was
of
me.
Course.
You went to the bathroom on the desk, I recall.
Yeah. That wasn't me, and that was the point. That was the whole point of this: is why did they choose me and pick me to prosecute and not the other 80 journalists? And that was going to be our defense in trial had we gone to trial, because we were demanding discovery from the government to explain to us why they didn't charge them, but they charged me. And the judge would not allow us to present that defense.
Which is crazy.
It's very crazy.
I mean, there's really no reason why you wouldn't be able to say, look, there's 80 people at the Capitol. We're all journalists. We're allowed to be there. You have your press credits.
Well, I know myself and about 40% of the journalists that went in that day did not. And then a significant other of the big profile guys like Luke Mogelson from the New Yorker, he actually hid his credentials because that's what you do in a riot. A press guy doesn't want to be seen.
Right.
Right? Doesn't want to be identified and beat up by the violent misdemeanor terrorists.
Right.
I did not go to trial. My pretrial hearing was the day after the election.
Oh, wow.
So my judge was not happy.
Oh, I'm
He was
sure.
not in a good mood.
Oh.
And his name is Christopher Cooper. Christopher Cooper, in addition to being my judge, who we don't think was randomly selected, because the officiant at his wedding was none other than Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Oh, wow.
Start there.
What a coincidence.
He was also the same judge 2 weeks before I was arrested, held Catherine Herridge, who was with CBS at the time, in contempt of court because she denied she wouldn't turn over her sources on a story she was working on. And then when Dr. Simone Gold from Frontline Doctors, when she was sentenced for her January misdemeanor terrorism, and the judge was sentencing her to 2 months in prison for doing nothing at all,
Right.
He chastised her, and he said, and this is an exact quote, he said, January 6th was about a lot of things, but it ain't about the First Amendment. So this judge, a federal district court judge appointed by Obama, sworn to, uphold the Constitution, does not like the First Amendment. So when he denied during my pretrial hearing our ability to defend myself, denied. That's all he did.
Outright.
It was just deny. All of our motions are demands for discovery from the government for why they didn't charge the other journalists, et cetera, et cetera. He denied everything. And then he looks at me and my attorneys and goes, see you next Wednesday.
The idea, my issue with a lot of judges, though, is that the power that they think they have. And the stuff, and they do get away with it in their chambers.
They do have.
Yeah, they do have.
In their chambers, they tend to treat it as if they can create the law. They don't have to abide by the Constitution. I've been on the other side of that, where you're looking at somebody who's looking at a reporter and telling you that you can't use any of the defenses that you would need to get you out of the situation. And this is the problem with a lot of the whole system is designed to scare you and to keep you in it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.